That's me and my husband as kids. We grew up, got married, and had a kid of our own. Pregnancy flew by, and in months I was holding my beautiful baby girl. With help from God and support from family and friends, we made it through the sleepless nights and celebrated the precious milestones. I'd love to take you on the journey with me as I juggle being a wife, stay-at-home mom, and working in the fashion and entertainment industry. It's only the beginning, and it's only reality. Hello and welcome to another episode of It's Only Reality. I'm Kytia L'amour, and thank you so much for coming and joining us this time. We're going to be talking about a very personal and a very dark subject today. I'm going to be sharing my experience with my miscarriage that happened back in 2013. And if you're watching this, and if you clicked on this because you're going through this, first of all, I want to say that I am so sorry that happened to you. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. I just really wouldn't. It's something that unless you've been through it yourself, you just don't understand how devastating it is. And I just wanted to share from my perspective so that if you are going through it, know that you'll be okay. And you're never going to forget about this baby, but you will get through it, you will manage, and hopefully you have people around you to support you during this time. And if you're watching this and you haven't been through this, I just want to share some tips with you about what you should and shouldn't say, and just kind of comfort somebody who's going through a grieving process like this. Just like anybody who's gone through a death in the family or a death of someone close to them, somebody going through loss, this is something that you should take very seriously and not try to be lighthearted or just not comment about it, because that's just as painful. So I guess I'll just start off with what happened and kind of take you through the timeline of events. So 2013, around Valentine's Day, I conceived a baby. Wow, that was awkward. But it wasn't until about a month later, around my mom's birthday actually, March 10th, I think we found out. We weren't expecting to be expecting so soon. We were married around 4 or 5, wait, how long were we married? Great, I don't know. I think it was 4.5 years we were married at that point. So we were just excited, about to share the news with everybody. We had recorded people's reactions to the pregnancy. I told my family who was out of state, Jarrell told his family, and people were just so excited, as were we. And I think it was on Easter we told my husband Jarrell's side of the family, and they were just like so excited for us. And then we told some of our close friends, and it was days later that I started spotting. And I remember looking up like, okay, is this normal to spot? Apparently it is really normal. There's an implantation period that happens where the baby goes and attaches itself to the uterine wall, and you can get some cramping, you can get some spotting. So I was like, okay, well, it's pretty early on. I think I was around 9 or 10 weeks at that point. And I was just hoping for the best because it was brown, it wasn't red, and they said as long as it's not red and as long as it's not filling up a pad every hour, you're okay. So I was like, okay, Jesus, like I'm pregnant, everything has to be okay. It just has to. Like, why would I lose this baby? This doesn't make any sense. And I hadn't scheduled my first appointment yet to see someone to check the baby, check the heart rate and everything like that. That's what I was in the middle of doing. And then a couple days after the brown spotting, I got red spotting. I'm cramping, I'm bleeding, and it just doesn't seem right. Like at that point even I didn't feel pregnant anymore. Like when you're pregnant, you usually feel like sore in your breast and you get really tired, and I just felt not pregnant after the bleeding. And then there was one day where I just started cramping really heavy. I was sitting on the couch, we're watching TV, and I just felt like I needed to use the restroom. So I go sit on the toilet, and I just felt something pass, and I just started crying. And then my husband came in, and he's like, what's wrong? And I couldn't even say anything. I just like was crying my eyes out, and he just kneeled next to me, and I was just like, something's wrong, this isn't right. And I was just like, oh my God. Because I mean, I never been through this, and I never really talked to anybody who'd been through this, so I'm just like, I don't know if this is normal. Some people pass blood clots, some people still have their period while they're pregnant, so I'm just hoping that this isn't it. But I just kind of felt something inside of me like, this isn't right, and like the baby's gone. So that was really hard. We didn't really tell anybody because we wanted to make sure that the baby was or wasn't there by the time we told people. So we had an appointment. I got checked out, and then They didn't see a heartbeat, they didn't see a baby, nothing was in there. And I just started crying while I was on the exam table at the hospital, and I was just like, how can this happen? This doesn't make any sense that I would lose my baby. Like, you just would never think, of course I'm going to have a miscarriage. It's like, nobody thinks that. At this point, I'm planning their future. We're coming up with baby names. We're excited about seeing them on the ultrasound, picking out baby clothes, and what is our nursery going to look like, and oh, we need to move because our place is too small. And just like you see yourself giving them away on their wedding day, and like taking them to college, and what is their first day of school. Like, you have this whole idea of who this person is, and all of a sudden they're gone. So you really do feel like you lost someone. I don't care if you're a month along, if you're 9 months along, it doesn't matter. Like, you still feel that attachment that this is a person, this was a human being, and they passed. I'll never get to meet them, I'll never get to hold them. And the day after losing the baby, I just kind of felt like, why should I get out of bed? And it just felt very surreal. Like, how did this nightmare, like, how is this real? Like, I'm gonna wake up and then everything's gonna be fine and I'm pregnant. And it's like, nope, never happened. The baby's not here. It's as if they were never here. Petra. So, by the way, that was my daughter Petra. So just some hope for you if you are dealing with a miscarriage right now. I didn't know if I would ever get pregnant again, and here I am. My daughter's almost 2 years old. So I just want to say, like, just hold on to your hope and faith that you're gonna have a baby again. You may already have kids, but this, miscarriage is not gonna make you feel like, oh, that's fine because I already have kids. And even when you have kids in the future, you're not gonna be like, oh, it's okay, I lost that one. Like, nothing's gonna replace them. They are a human being. So just to remember, like, this is hope and faith. Like, I'm surrounded by a crib, a rocking chair, and I have a baby. But I still think about my first pregnancy a lot. So, moving on back to what I was saying. What was I saying? Yes, so you have all these hopes and dreams for this kid and then they're gone. I kind of felt like, well, I'm a Christian and I pray and I read my Bible and I'm a good person and there's so many things that I didn't do that I could have. This shouldn't happen to me. Even looking at the stats, 1 in 4 women, 1 in 4, 25% of women will experience a loss. 25% is a huge number of women who will experience a miscarriage or a stillbirth. So it's not like you're never really out of the woods. How they say after your first trimester, you're out of the woods. It's like, you just don't know. So you can just stay positive about it. But just know, like, if this happens to you, it's very common. And what helped me was thinking, like, well, if this is 1 in 4, then, it kind of made me feel better in a very dark way that other people were experiencing this as well, 25% of women, unfortunately. So I had a lot of resources online. I went on this website called UnspokenGrief.com and just read all these people's stories about their miscarriage, and it just made me feel like, wow, there's other people who have gone through this and they're okay. They go on to have kids, and even if they decide they don't want to try again, like, they're okay. They're still alive. They're still healthy. Like, it's going to be okay eventually. So I don't know if that would be encouraging to you, but it was encouraging to me to be able to read other people's stories and know that I'm not alone. And after that, it was about a 6-month period before we got pregnant again, because the doctor that we saw did tell us he wanted to wait about 1 or 2 cycles, menstrual cycles, before I tried again. And that's mainly to make sure your body gets rid of everything that it's supposed to, and that you kind of have a calendar date to start from, so that when you do get pregnant again, they'll know, like, well, this is how far along you are, because this is when your last period was. So, but 6 months is a long time. It felt like an eternity to me. And we even had arguments about that, because I just felt like, why can't I get pregnant again, like, right away? Like, I just don't want to feel empty. Like, I'm supposed to be pregnant, we're expecting this child, the due date is this day, like, can we just get pregnant already? And he just wanted to make sure I'm healthy, and he's like, we're not going to rush anything, we want to have a healthy baby, let's do everything we can to ensure that. And I was just like, I don't care, like, let's get pregnant. You are never going to understand. And ladies, no one, unless someone who's been through it, will ever be able to understand what you're going through. And they're just not going to know what it feels like. They're not going to know why you're devastated. They're not even going to understand the fears that come with being pregnant again. So just extend that grace, and just, like, they just don't understand. And you can try to explain it to people who are willing to listen. Fortunately, I had a lot of people who were willing to listen, but I also had quite a few people, even people I was close to, that were making comments that did not help me at all, and I just wanted to share some of those. Please avoid these, you guys. If you're talking to someone who's been through it, please avoid saying like, oh, everything happens for a reason. That's not going to help anybody. What is that reason? Like, oh, so you can be more grateful next time, or like whatever it is. Or I even had people say like, oh, when you're not trying, when you least expect it, you'll get pregnant again and you'll have a baby. And I'm thinking, I didn't even plan the first time, so it's not like I'm desperate to have a baby and now I have to like wait for whatever reason. And then another one is, like God just needed an angel back. This baby was too good for us. And it's like, no, that doesn't make me feel any better either, because God isn't that arbitrary where he's like, you know what, I know I made this baby, but let me just take him back. I don't think you guys deserve it. And it's like, oh, so God is punishing me because he just wants his angel back. No, that's not a thing. Like, he is the one who helped you to have that life. He is the one who gave them a plan and a purpose, and we live in a fallen world. That's basically what it is. There's sin, there is death, there are tragedies, there are things, great things happen to bad people, horrible things happen to good people, and that's just the world we live in. We can pray, we can have faith, but honestly, there are just some things that are going to happen, and you just have to know that you will be okay on the other side of it. God will bring you through it, but that doesn't mean he put you in that situation. It's just unfortunate that this happened to you. And I think the best thing you can do to comfort somebody who's been through it is just say you're like, I'm sorry that happened, and be willing to talk about it for as long as they need to, because I kind of felt like I had this shortened timeline where I had to just get over it and not talk to people about it, because it's like I still get emotional thinking about this baby, and this was like 3 years ago, and then I'm still like getting emotional seeing pictures where I was pregnant with this child, and it just doesn't go away. And I can only talk about it with my husband, really, and maybe some family members, and a lot of people just don't understand. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to share my story, because there was only a few people I knew who had said out loud like, oh yeah, I had a miscarriage. And I remembered that, like, even when people tell you, if you haven't been through it, it's kind of like, oh, that's interesting, I don't remember. So I remember a couple of my friends saying they had one, so I was able to talk to them and work through it, and they told me their story, and it's just like, wow, like I have somebody to talk to, somebody who really does understand what I'm dealing with. It was just so amazing, and so many people didn't talk about it. I found out that family members had miscarriages, didn't tell anybody. Friends who had miscarriages didn't tell anybody. I still know people who are having miscarriages and they haven't really said it out loud. So it's something that's really, really important to me, to be able to be that person like, hey girl, you know what, that happened to me too. If you want to talk about it, let's talk about it. It's very sad, and you might not have anybody else who's willing to bring it up. They might just be like, oh, well, you know, like it wasn't really a baby yet technically, or like you'll just have another kid, it'll be great. And you'll be like, I know, but this was a special person on their own, and nothing's going to replace them, and I'm not going to forget about them. So it's important to me to share, and I'm probably forgetting some details of it. I try not to relive it all the time, and the recovery process was hard for me because it just felt like I was bleeding forever. Like any pregnancy, once you give birth, like... Yes, Petra? So like any pregnancy, once the baby comes out, you have to shed all the uterine lining. That's super thick at that point. So I passed blood clots. I know it's gross. I passed blood clots. I was bleeding for like 2 weeks, and then it stopped, and then it came back for like 2 weeks, and then I was like, okay, was that my period? I don't know, but it was like the worst cramps ever, like so painful for 2 days straight. I think I was just, I know you're not supposed to do this, but I was popping Motrin like it was nobody's business. But I was just like, this hurts so bad, like just give me the pills, let me sleep. And it just made it even worse, because like I'm having these terrible cramps, I'm already in grieving, and then I have all this stuff to deal with. So on top of that, just wanting to have a baby again, and like wondering like, when is my real period gonna come? Because they're like, oh, it's not your real period unless you've had 21 days at least between the bleeding. So that hadn't happened for a while. So I feel like I wasn't regular again till probably like 3 months later, when I felt like, oh, I've had my period, like I'm back on a cycle. So like I said, it was about 6 months later I had conceived again. It was around our anniversary of our 5 years, and it took a while getting to that point, but I do remember going to a birthday party for my friend, and I was like, this is exciting, like we're hanging out, not really even thinking about the miscarriage. And at that birthday party she also announced that she was pregnant, here's me still not pregnant. This is right before I conceived, and I was just like, okay, like, I gotta get out of here. Because it's like, oh, you're pregnant, that's great, you're like 3 months along, and then I have nothing. So I remember crying on my way home, and then not really saying anything about it because I didn't want to talk about it, because me and my husband had been talking about it for months, and it just seemed like he never was going to be on board until like we were super safe. So I remember the next day him just coming and like into the room. I was still in bed, and I remember him coming in and he's like, you know what, I think it's time that we try again. And I was like, really? That's the best news I've heard in a long time. Like, are you for real? Like, are you sure? So we tried again and immediately got pregnant, and that's when Petra came in my womb. So that's my miscarriage story. Just to wrap up, I was around 11 weeks along when I lost that baby. Never really forgot about them. The best thing that helped me was just people being willing to talk about it, people being willing to share their stories, going on online resources gosh, what is that word? Going on online resources and reading other people's stories on unspokengrief.com. Having people say, I'm just so sorry, because I had a lot of friends who just didn't comment. Friends and what I thought were close friends, and family members who just didn't even say anything. And that was probably the most hurtful thing, just to not acknowledge it at all. And I know it's awkward, you don't really know what to say, but if anybody experiences a loss, just say, I'm sorry that happened to you. And I wouldn't have known unless it happened to me, because I had known other people who went through miscarriages and I didn't know what to say. So I didn't reach out to them. I didn't see how they were doing. I didn't know what happened to your body and the hormones and all the doctor's appointments and things that they go through, and even just the fear that may come with being pregnant again. So I went and apologized to them, and I'm like, I'm sorry I wasn't there for you. And it seemed to mean a lot to them. So hopefully that encourages you to reach out to someone or just be there for them. Or if you go through it, just let people know this is how you can help me. But I also want to pray for you, because anybody who's been through a miscarriage, or even if you're pregnant right now or hoping to be pregnant one day, I just want to pray for you. So Lord, thank you so much for this time that we have with these wonderful viewers who are willing to come and stop by my channel. Just praying over this message, this unfortunate circumstance of miscarriage that happens to way too many people. We know that when you give life, you don't do it arbitrarily, but you have a plan and a purpose for each individual you created. We know that this world is full of sin, it's full of hurt, and I just want to pray over those who are dealing with this right now, praying that they have the right people around them to encourage them and support them in this trial that they're facing, praying that you help them in their bodies to be able to recover from the process of miscarriage, whether they have one naturally or have to have a surgical procedure, and just praying that their bodies are capable of carrying another child, carrying full-term child, praying over those who are pregnant right now that their babies will be healthy, that they'll have a wonderfully strong and enjoyable experience in their pregnancy, being able to meet their fully alive, fully healthy babies soon. And praying over those who know someone who's been through a loss, whether it be a miscarriage or a stillbirth, that they'll find the words to say, that you will help them to be a comfort to others and somebody that they can talk to. And also praying for the people who want to be pregnant one day, and just praying against anything coming against them and their bodies, that they'll be able to conceive well, not have any issues with hormones or blood clots or surgical procedures, that they'll just be fully healthy, that the baby will be fully formed and knit together in their womb, that there will be no fear involved in their pregnancy, but just hope and joy, and that everything just works out for them and growing their families in the future. And I pray all this, Lord, in your Son Jesus' name, amen. Thank you so much for watching and for listening to my story, and I just wanted to know if you have any questions, please comment. I would love to answer anything that you may have concerns about. Also, if you wanted to know what it's like being pregnant after a miscarriage, just how I dealt with all the fear and the doubt that kind of crept up from time to time, and just what that process was like for me, I can make another video about that and kind of share my testimony of how God helped me through that whole process and having a wonderful, beautiful, little healthy baby girl. So let me know if you want to see that, and just leave your comments and feedback. And thank you again for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye! Bye. Bye.